if you want to be exceptional and you want to do better than the majority of people, you can't do what the majority of people do. And of course, the majority of people go to university. So for me to think that, and for me to truly believe that, I would have to live that as well. So that made me make the decision to go in a different direction. However much discomfort you can tolerate is going to equal how much success you achieve. And there's not really any way around that.
Welcome to Sovereign Man Podcast, where we aim to make men masculine again. I'm your man, Nicky Billou, and we have a very special guest here for you today. Someone very near and dear to my heart. An absolute savage in life, Keyvan Billou.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you here. So we share the same last name. You're my son. I'm your father. This is a beautiful thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So son, the way I like to start these episodes is by having you tell your backstory, and tell your backstory in terms of how you got started and how you are where you are today in your business career and success, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Got started with the business that I'm in right now, or what do you mean?
Yeah, how you got started moving in this direction in your business career and your life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, well, I've always been really into fitness, health, working out, sports from a very young age. Like I remember being maybe 3, 4, 5 years old doing workouts with you at home. So I think that kind of that started me off liking fitness and having it as part of my lifestyle, being shown that it's a normal part of anyone's lifestyle from a young age. That made me fall in love with it and then continue it from there. Then throughout my my youth into my teenage years, I was spending a lot of time in the gym working out while also playing soccer. Loved playing soccer, loved working out. Eventually, I started loving fitness, the gym, more so just focus on the working out aspect more than soccer. And then I transitioned my focus to go from mainly soccer to more so on working out. And along the way, I was definitely guided by some good mentors like my dad, like you, coaches as well, that kind of instilled some, you could say, discipline and work ethic, and understanding the value of accountability, and understanding that not only do you need to hold yourself accountable to do well in anything, but when you master that skill, you can also, mastering that skill, you can use it to then help other people master that skill. And I took that, my understanding and love for accountability and discipline, with my love for fitness, and I am where I am today because of those things. So now what I'm currently doing is helping people get into the best shape of their lives, while of course holding them accountable, giving them something to follow, and then making them fall in love with the process the same way that I.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. It's a fantastic thing that you're doing. So Keyvan, just for the benefit of the audience, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
And how long? 2006. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing your business full time?
I would say just over 2 years now.
Okay. And, you went to a top private school here in Toronto, St. Michael's College School. It's a school that's been around for 170 years plus.
Yeah. 1852, I believe.
Yeah, 174 years older than Canada.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You graduated with an A average. You were all set to go to university. What changed your mind? Why did you decide to go work full time and not go to school?
Yeah. Well, something I've always knew I didn't really want to go to university, but I wasn't going to. I planned to go to university because I had nothing else that I was planning to do at the time when I made the decision to go. But there is also something I truly believe is that if you want to be exceptional and you want to do better than the majority of people, you can't do what the majority of people do. And of course, the majority of people go to university. So for me to think that, and for me to truly believe that, I would have to live that as well. So that made me make the decision to go in a different direction. And then, of course, I became a client at Hammer Fitness first, where I'm currently working and running. You could say I'm working for the business, and then I also am branding myself and marketing myself to gain my own clients. And then after being a client there, I really enjoyed the process and working with everyone there. And then I got an opportunity to work there from the owner, Amber. And then I've been working at Hammer Fitness ever since then. So just I saw how good of an environment it was and how much room there was for me to grow there. And I saw that really working there, there's no other option for you except to grow and to get better, not only as a person, but then in your business as well. You can't stay the same. You're continuously improving month after month. And that's something that I really value. And I don't think I would be given that opportunity at university.
Well, when I went to university was, God, 41 years ago. I went to university 1985, University of Toronto, and I did my undergraduate degree there. I got a Bachelor of Commerce degree, and then I went and I did a master's. And at the time, I was excited to do it. It was an interesting, fascinating, and fun experience. But university today isn't what it was then. Unfortunately, the university institutions have been captured by people that are leftists, ideological. They don't necessarily want to teach people to get good at something and go out there and put it out there to be successful in their careers. I don't see a lot of people going to university, even at my time, and then taking what they learned and using it in their career right now, unless you're becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. There's very little of that going on. And there's so many successful people out there that aren't going to university and are still learning, still growing. Education doesn't have to be university education for it to be education. You can still learn things without going to school, right?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't see it as a necessary step for anyone to succeed and do well in life. Of course, excluding the exceptions like becoming a doctor or a lawyer. Of course, you need to go to school if you want to excel in any of these careers, unless you're planning on faking your doctor's certificate. I don't recommend that. But for
Yeah.
anything else, it's not really a necessary step for you to do well and succeed. I mean, everything I know right now, I've learned on my own. I've learned from other people helping me, and then I've also learned from just putting into practice with myself and then with clients. And that's truly the best way I think to learn it. It's the most practical because it's a real life example. You know what works, what doesn't work. It's not just a theory or something that you read in a textbook. And even when I talk to people who work at the at Hammer Fitness, when I ask them, the ones who went to school for kinesiology, that's people would say, okay, this is the necessary step. Oh, you have to take kinesiology for 4 years, and then you need to go into doing this business. And don't get me wrong, it definitely helps to an extent, but the majority of the content and the knowledge that they have built, the other people that work at Hammer Fitness, they've told me that like 95% of it just came from trial and error, studying on their own and studying the things that are actually applicable to working with clients. Because at the end of the day, university is a business too. They want to make money and they're going to stretch out the content into 4 years. And it might not be, all 4 years may not be necessary or useful for you at all once you go into the real world, if you're working in the field that I'm working in. So I definitely don't see it as a necessary step. And really, whatever you want to learn, this is the easiest time to learn it. It doesn't get any easier. You don't even have to search anything up. You can just type something into AI and it's going to give you the exact answer. You don't have to look and try to find the answer. It's literally right in front of you. It couldn't be any easier.
No, for sure. And getting a university degree today doesn't mean you have to go to a school. I mean, Jordan Peterson has Peterson Academy, which now has over 100 courses and a lot of courses with top level instructors. And I have an Iranian friend, and she's created an accredited university online that's, I think, launching this September, which also you can do without needing to physically be there. Peterson Academy is like $500 a year,
Yeah.
and this other program isn't quite that cheap, but it's still much cheaper than going to a regular university, no question about it. Keyvan, 2 years you're doing this business. At the moment, tell us, like, how many people do you work with? How many hours a week do you spend on your business, just so people get a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a better question is how many hours do I not spend on the business? Um, but yeah, to be honest, I'd say like all of my time is pretty much all of my time is spent working. Like there's not too much time in the day where aside from sleeping where I'm not thinking about work. Like a typical day, like I can say today's a bit of a weirder day since it's a holiday, but you could say tomorrow, at least what my day looks like is wake up about 5 a.m., get to the gym by 5:45. I live pretty close by, and then I'll be there from 5:45 till about 8 p.m. And then I'll have a lot of clients throughout the day that I'm working with, and then I'll also have some breaks where I'll eat, I'll work out, I'll just do some admin work that I need to do. I'll send people messages, answer questions. But even now that right now I'm at home, like I'll still be messaging people. I have people asking me, "Hey, I'm going to this restaurant tonight. What's the best thing for me to get?" Or people are asking, "Oh, I don't have this food tonight. What should I have?" Like I've had people message me at 2 in the morning. I'm not going to answer at 2 in the morning because I'm sleeping, but pretty much any hour of the day I'll answer as long as I'm awake and I see the message, I'll respond. So there's not really a time where I'm not working, to be honest. Like I'm ready to always answer and service clients really at any time. So yeah,
That's
I work
fantastic.
a lot, you could say.
Yeah, you do work a lot. When I was 20 years old, I didn't work that much. I mean, I was in school. I worked in the summer, and that's about it.
But something I just want to add, I don't think it's that like people might say like, oh, you're working so much. Like it doesn't feel like a lot because I used to struggle working 8 hour shifts at a restaurant I used to work at. I thought 8 hours was so long, like I was dying, and I just wanted to leave the whole time. But that was sort of the culture. Like nobody liked work. Where I work now, it's like the standard in the culture. Like everybody enjoys to work. It's not really nobody talks about like, oh, I can't wait to get off work. Like everybody enjoys their job and enjoys that it's such a part of their life. So it's not even a thought like, oh, I'm working a lot. Like I don't ever think like I'm working a lot. It's become so normal, just like I'm living my life.
Amen. No, that's fantastic, man. That's it's a beautiful environment that Hammer has created at Hammer Fitness, and it's fantastic that a young man, 20 years old, has that attitude about work. I think it's an absolutely beautiful thing. So there's a lot of young men today, in particular, that are lost. They're not sure what they want to do. They're not sure what to do. A lot of them are doom scrolling on their phones. They're playing video games. They're doing anything but thinking about how to challenge themselves to be the best version of themselves. And one of the reasons that I do what I do inside Sovereign Man, inside doing a podcast for Sovereign Man, and frankly, even inside my business, eCircle Academy, is because I want to push people in general, but especially young men, um, out of this little boy lost syndrome and into the warrior and the badass they're meant to be. What do you believe are some of the things that you've adopted for yourself that have allowed you to be successful that you would advise young men in particular, but all people in general, to adopt so they can ensure that they're successful in their lives?
Yeah, well, first thing is comfort. I mean, everyone likes to be comfortable, of course, but you have to be okay with being uncomfortable. And I think most people can't tolerate being uncomfortable for a long time. So, something I think everyone needs is someone, an external person, to push them and make them uncomfortable and force them to do things. And it doesn't need to be this, but it just if you know that there's someone there who's expecting you to show up and expecting you to be a certain version of yourself, then you're going to act like that version of yourself because you feel like there's no other option. And well, sometimes you're not going to feel like that, so it's going to be uncomfortable. So it's really just constantly exposing yourself to more and more discomfort as time goes on. Of course, there's a limit, and not everyone, and you can't be uncomfortable all the time. I'm not saying that, but you should try to at least progress your tolerance for discomfort. Like I said before, I couldn't work 8 hours. Now I can be at the gym for 14 hours, more than 14 hours, and then come home and do more work, and it doesn't feel that hard. Because over time, I slowly worked a little bit more, experienced a little bit more discomfort, and I built that mental tolerance. And I was sort of conscious that I was doing it along the way. I realized, okay, like I'm not gonna be able to work hard. It's not gonna feel easier unless I can push myself more and more. So once you can push yourself, it gets a little bit easier because you just become used to it. So most people, this as soon as they feel discomfort, they quit. And the key is being able to push through that, and then eventually it just feels normal. You're used to being uncomfortable, and then you can pretty much do anything at that point. Like however much discomfort you can tolerate is going to equal how much success you achieve, and there's not really any way around that. So that's the first thing I would say, and I think that a lot of people, there, I would say honestly, it's majority of the main reason that you could say young men maybe aren't that driven to like do something for themselves to work a lot is just because from a young age their parents just let be all the time whatever they wanted. They thought that the rest of their life would be that way, and then they basically push off the reality as long as possible. They keep acting out, they keep doing whatever they want, and people can get away with that for a long time. I mean, I see it with people that I know, but eventually reality will hit them and they'll realize that they've wasted a lot of time, and they'll feel like it's too late, and they won't really try to make anything of themselves because they just feel like they're in such a deep hole that they cannot get out of. So unless you realize that earlier on in life, it's very challenging. It's not impossible, but it's very challenging to get out of that. And that comes from a young age. The parents not being scared to say no. Like I know some parents who are scared to tell their kids no, and I don't even understand it. But I mean, it is what it is. It comes from an issue with themselves. So I would say maybe if you have some self-esteem issues and you're looking to become a parent, you might want to solve those problems first, because you're going to then give your kid a different set of problems. And nobody's perfect, of course, but I think this is something that's extremely important. Is, I mean, of course, like I'm not a parent, but this is just what I'm seeing from other people is parents that can't tell their kid no and can't let their kid be mad at them. Their kids don't turn out that well. So that's what I've just seen. I could be wrong, but that's what I've seen from quite a few people.
You're not wrong. You're right. I think the biggest reason you've turned out really well is I was hard on you. We put you in sports with good coaches and mentors, people like Coach Allen and Ammer. And three, you had this curiosity and desire to try things, and you pushed yourself. You were pushed, and you pushed yourself. I think it's natural for men to push themselves if other people push them. I think even these young men that aren't being pushed by their parents, if they start getting pushed by somebody, they'll respond well to it, and their lives will get better. Their ability to succeed will get better. 100%. Comfort is a drug. Comfort is your enemy. That doesn't mean don't properly rest or recover or any of that stuff. You got to make sure that you do all that. But that phone is a digital distraction device, and it's too easy to waste an hour without even realizing you've wasted an hour, and you're not doing anything productive. Usually, most people that are on their phones aren't using them for productive reasons. There are those that do, but most people don't.
Yeah.
I like that you don't want to be comfortable, and I like that you realize that it's a good thing that your parents were able to say no to you and push you. And I'm as your father, I'm very proud of you. I'm very, but as a business guru expert, I'm fascinated to see a young man, under the age of 30, never mind 20, be able to adopt these mentalities, because these are typically mentalities that in this day and age aren't adopted by men until they're much older, if at all. There was a time where men had your mentality quite early on in life, but that was 50, 60 years ago. It's not the norm. You're not the norm. You're a unicorn, and it's one of the things that I think makes you an impressive coach. I think people should hire you. I think they should use you to help them get into shape. And I think fathers who have sons that are frankly not launched properly and are nervous and worried, are they going to ever become successful and go out there and make their own way should listen to what you have to say and get their kids to listen to what you have to say, because what you have to say, I think, is something that makes sense for young men. I don't think guys like Andrew Tate, even before he got arrested, were people anybody should follow. And reason is, I think he's full of shit. I think he lied a lot and said things just to persuade people to work with him. I don't think he was speaking primarily from wanting to make a difference for other people. And I think you do. I think more young men should follow you and nobody should follow Andrew Tate. That's my 2 cents. So tell us about your work at Hammer Fitness specifically, and who are your ideal clients, who are the people you're trying to help, and how people can get a hold of you if they're interested in finding out about getting into shape, becoming less comfortable, becoming tougher, becoming mentally tougher.
Yeah. Right now I work with some clients in person and some clients online. So I have a lot of clients that we get exceptional results without ever meeting in person. And I think a lot of people, when they hear online coaching, they think that means that I'm doing a one-on-one session with them over Zoom. It's not the case. So what it is me giving you a program to follow, monitoring how your body responds to following that program, and then making the necessary adjustments so that your body continues to progress. And then of course there's also making sure that you can follow the program. That's actually the biggest part, because honestly anybody, I can get anybody in shape, but not everybody will follow the program right away. So it's about me adjusting the program, me adjusting the way I deliver the program to the person. That's the actual coaching part that I do. The program is the easy part. I can make a program without too much effort and without too much thought, and if you follow it, you'll get results very quickly. But most people, they're living a lifestyle that's different from the program I'm giving them, so it takes some thought and some effort from me, and I really enjoy that process of figuring out different people and taking on the responsibility to help different individuals understand and enjoy the process and fit the program and the protocol to their lifestyle. Because of course, everyone's lifestyle is different. Everyone is coming from a different background, and everyone needs something a little bit different to succeed. So really, my ideal client is anybody that wants to get into very good shape. Whether you've done it before or you haven't done it before, I'm ready to help you get there. But really, the key is, are you eager to do it? Really, I find people don't do well when someone else is signing them up. Like if I said, let's say if I had a girlfriend and I was like, oh, I want you to sign up for this, I'm going to pay for you. That person more than likely will not do well because they have not committed. So you need to be ready to commit. And I don't just mean financially, but once you commit financially, usually people are more into the program and they're ready to follow things more closely, and they're ready to they're just going to try harder because they have some skin in the game. So really, anyone that's ready to commit and trust the process and is ready to be patient, but also put in the work, you'll see the results then, definitely. And then a good way to reach me is on Instagram. So if you see my name on the Zoom, it's Keyvan.Billou. So the same name you see here, just with a dot in between, and all lowercase. So Keyvan.Billou on Instagram. Follow me, send me a message, and I'll respond to you as fast as possible.
I think it's really important what you said about the mentality that a person needs to have to be successful in working with you. So the first thing is they've got to be decisive, right? They got to be, I want this. And it's got to be their decision, not somebody else's decision. Someone else who's saying you should do this. They should be like, yep, I'm in. I'm ready to buy the car. I'm not kicking the tire, right? Secondly, they got to understand it's a process and they're going to have to make changes and stick to those changes over the long haul for the results to be there. So they got to commit to the process and not just have their eye on the results. They got to fall in love with the process. Thirdly, they got to take the coaching. I mean, it just makes sense, right? They can't be uncoachable. They got to take the coaching. They got to do what you tell them to do. And then fourthly, they need to find a way to get it done. They got to become resourceful. The great Tony Robbins once said, it doesn't matter how much resources you have. What matters is how resourceful are you? And really what that boils down to is how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be successful at whatever it is that you're taking on in life? And I think those are the four characteristics of any client anybody wants to work with. Somebody who's decisive, they want it and they want it, nobody else. They're committed to the process, they're ready to stick to it, they're coachable, and they're resourceful. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get the result. And a person who has those four characteristics will be successful at whatever they decide to take on. And a person who lacks one or more of those characteristics is going to fail, and is going to fail badly. And that's the truth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, even those people though too, so the people that aren't as eager or not as resourceful, I do like and enjoy working with them because it shows me that I can still get someone there even when they don't really want it that bad, and I can make them want it more and speak to them in a way that has them want it more. Like I had a client for a while. We were working together. He was getting some results, but I knew that he could get much greater results and much faster results, but he wasn't resourceful enough. And that was partially on him and partially on me for not speaking to him and presenting things to him in a way that would make him more eager to be resourceful and to follow everything. And it took a lot of, you could say, introspection and reflection on the way I was speaking to him, the things I was saying, and figuring out what our bottleneck was. And then eventually we got to a point where it wasn't the program that really changed, to be honest. It was more so just the way I presented the program to him. And then that got him to the point where now he's gotten much better and faster results. So, of course, it's a little bit easier to start off with someone who's very eager and committed, but I do also enjoy the responsibility and the task of working with people that aren't as committed and as, you could say, as motivated, and getting them to that point where they are very motivated and committed.
You know, that's a good point. For myself, I'm at a stage in my life where if the person's commitment isn't very high, I generally speaking don't want to get involved with them. But it makes sense when you're getting started in your career to find ways to lift people's motivation and bring it up high. And if you're successful at doing that, son, I learned something from you today. So that's a beautiful thing. You're a very impressive young man. I'm very proud of you. What you've accomplished for yourself in 2 years is mind-blowing to me, because it's real and it's the result of passion for what you do. It's the result of an unbelievably strong work ethic. It's the result of a man who's out there in the world making his own way and figuring it out. Kudos. Bravo. Well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Sovereign Man Podcast. If you're ready to take charge of your life and become the man you've always wanted to be, we invite you to join the movement at sovereignman.ca.